we have a big responsibility in the sense of keeping those records in order, because if you do have to go legal, in some instances you do, the attorney is going to ask for that documentation, or the other party that's potentially suing you for sending a violation, because that can happen, is going to ask you, okay, where are all the violations? Where are the pictures? Where's the proof? So having to dig through a ton of paper is just, at least for us, for our operation, that just wouldn't work.
Yeah. Raphael raised something that's so important. Oftentimes you'll take over a new community, and like you say, they want to go after everybody right away.
Right away.
I'm like, wait a minute, that person has that garage that way for 46 years. What do you mean you want to go after them now? Statute of limitations expired a long time ago. So,
Wow.
So slow it down, everybody.
Yeah.
And it's your job to take everybody down a notch.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we like, our initial recommendation in those kinds of situations is, of course, let's consult, but then let's do it in a phased approach. So you still want to send a communication to everyone saying, these are the common violations that we've seen. We understand that they may not have been enforced for some time, but this is the process we're going to get into.
It's getting people kind of like...
Yeah, at the end of the day, these are your neighbors.
Exactly.
You don't want to
need
get...
to create enemies, but you're in a difficult situation because you have a responsibility to enforce those rules. So let's just communicate to them. Let's be human.
Can those rules be changed?
Great question.
Like if something like is now outdated, it's because...
So the boards of directors always have the right to make changes to the rules and regulations if it's regarding the common areas in the community. They could always change the rules. However, once something is contained in the declaration, it's the unit owners themselves who make those changes, not just the board. Everybody gets to vote on the major provisions that are in your declaration.
Give me an example.
So like I said before, a rule about the common areas, the pool will be opened only till 7 o'clock at night. That's a rule, right? And the board makes those rules. But something that's in your declaration, such as, like I said before, everybody's entitled to one pet, and that's in your declaration. The board can't say, oh, we're going to make a rule that says no more pets. The community has to vote that one down. Okay? Big difference between the two.
Yep. So it takes a different vote of the residents, and that you have to read the document. So if you want to say, listen, now I heard a stat that there's almost the same amount of humans as there are dogs. So if it's true, I don't know, I heard that stat. But if you want to say, well, I allow 2 dogs in the community, you have to amend those documents. So you have to take a member vote, and that member vote is going to be outlined within your documents. You're going to want to consult with the attorney to make sure they draft that amendment for you of what it needs to look like.
You're going to have to talk to an attorney. Yeah. It's going to be a constant conversation.
Yeah. No, because I say that way because many times it's just, why don't we just send the notice? You guys just change 1 to 2. Why do we need to talk to the attorney about that? But there's voting requirements. There are proxies. There's so much that goes into it.
It's got to be prepared a certain way.
A certain
if you
way.
do it wrong,
that's right.
it's unenforceable.
And here's the thing, like, for new homeowners that are coming to live in this new place, obviously they were never consulted on the rules and regulations, and there might be rules that feel unfair or unreasonable. Yep. Is there anything they can do about it?
Yes, read your documents before moving in.
That's the answer we always give.
Right.
We get hammered as an industry for...
That's such a mean thing to say.
But it's look, there's pros and cons to legislation, right? The legislation is only as good as, in my opinion, as the teeth that it has. And many times we pass legislation just to try to fix a problem, but it's just a patch. The reality of the situation, why I bring that up is because there's been a lot of legislation that says, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to do it. But in reality, we didn't need to pass that legislation if the person would have just have read their documents when they were supposed to, which, by the way, realtors are supposed to provide that documentation 3 days after the signature of the contract. That, unfortunately, doesn't occur.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming from. It's like, sign here, 20, like a pile of papers here. You're like...
Yeah, so what people don't understand is, and Eric, we've blogged about this before, is that they say, well, you're taking away my rights. Well, when you're moving into an association, there's a contract that you're signing, and that's unfortunately what happens. And in all fairness to the new homeowner, I understand it's a very emotional decision in a positive way. You're excited, you really want to get in. But when you're getting into a condo or an HOA, you're signing another contract that you need to abide by. And sometimes that does mean limiting certain rights.
Yes, there's cases on point of the Florida Supreme Court that said when you move into an association, whether it be a condo or an HOA, you give up certain rights that you would normally have if you lived in a private home on a street. Sorry, it's not the same thing. You're giving up rights so that everybody plays by the same rules and everybody hopefully gets along.
Hopefully gets along.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got that wrong, but you know. Right? But
So-
that's
Good luck with that one.
right.
What makes so I do have a question. What makes a violation fair versus unreasonable?
Okay, if it's not related to the health, welfare, and safety, just to give you a stupid example, everybody has to have a black car, right? There's no reason, there's no rhyme for such a rule, right? It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, the law says that the rules that the association makes has to have some meaning, some purpose. It has to be related to the health, welfare, and safety of the community. So a rule, for example, that closes the pool for the day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, sorry, that's an unreasonable rule. It's not related to the health, welfare, and safety of the community, and a person in the community would be able to strike that down should they challenge it.
How can they do that?
They'd have to go to court to do that, though. Or potentially arbitration. They'd have to fight it out.
Yeah. Or there's also, as a resident, you have, for those that are not on the board, you have the ability of changing the board as well. If there's something that you don't agree with, you have. Now, can it be difficult with some of the larger HOAs? Yes, because the requirement in order to get a vote, Eric and I were talking about a very large community that we both know of, that it's difficult to get a quorum just because residents don't get involved, even though there's technology to help you with that, with online voting and so forth. But yeah, as a resident, if you feel that you want to make a change, you have the right, but no different than our local politicians. You know, you got to start knocking on doors, explaining what your vision is, why you would like to do it. In my eyes, I always say try to do it in a positive fashion, not in a rumor mill. But yeah, you do have the right, and then you still have to go through the process of doing a vote and everything. It's not as simple as I'm just going to change something.
You mentioned like politician. It's exactly like that.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, it's quasi-government.
Exactly. Every little association is in effect a quasi-government. I agree with you 100%.
Yep.
Right? There's the town attorney, right? There's the town city. You're like the city manager.
That's right.
Right?
That's
I mean,
right.
it should,
Yeah.
that's
City
what
hall.
it's
Yeah,
like.
that's what it's
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.